So welcome back students. So we have been learning a new supplementary from Unit 5. The title of the supplementary, A Day in 2889 of an American Journalist. This is the part 2 of the video. So in the part 1 of the video we learned who wrote the story. The story was written by Jules Verne. He was so specialized in writing the science fictional story, and we also learned the characters in the story. Remember, we have the main character as Mr. Francis Bennett. Then we have a lot of different reporters and Francis Bennett's wife. So in the first part of the video, we learned about the interaction that Mr. Francis Bennett was having with is one of the 10 astronomical reporter, which he was having a discussion with Mr. Cash, and he was inquiring about the Mars, right? Remember? So he was inquiring about the moon, sorry. So when he asked about the moon, so for that Mr. Cash replies, not, still now we did not receive any reply from the moon. So let's see what happens later then. So Mr. Bennett, Francis Bennett was interacting with the astronomical reporter. Let's see what happens then. So Mr. Francis Bennett was asking about the moon, right? Because from the moon they did not get anything else. So for that, Mr. Francis Bennett replies, well, this time you can't blame optical science. The moon is 600 times nearer than Mars, and yet our correspondence service is in regular operation with Mars. It can be telescopes we need. So Mr. Francis Bennett says that we cannot blame optical science. Here optical science means visual science. So science that help us to see things. Say for example, we have TV, we have a mobile option, we are able to see things. All this comes under optical science. So he says that it's not because of the problem that we have in optical science. Like I don't think we need telescope. So further, moon is also very close to us, and Mars is very far away from us, but still we get regular correspondence service from that. Correspondence means communication. Okay, so correspondence service. We get regular correspondence service from the Mars. Mars. So he says that the problem is not with the optical science. So we don't even need telescope. Telescope is used for the optical science. Remember? So for that, one of the reporter Colley replies, "It's no, it's the inhabitants." So here, inhabitants means a person, animals that lives in or occupies a place. So say for example, our habitat, we inhabit a particular region. An animal and a forest, if you go to a forest, a deer or lion will inhabit a particular space as a particular area. So inhabitants, it can be a person or animal. Okay. So then for that, Mr. Francis Bennett says that you dare tell me that the moon is uninhabited. So he's asking sarcastically, are you telling me that moon is not uninhabited? Which means people have been living there for a very long time. People or some animal or alien are living some very long time. That is what Mr. Francis Bennett is asking to Coley. So for that, Mr. Colley, the reporter, replies, on the face it turns towards us. At any rate, Mr. Bennett, who knows whether on the other side. So when we look at on the face, when we face it, it just turns towards us, towards Earth. But who knows on the other side of the moon? That is what he replies. Well, there is a very simple method of finding out. So Corley is saying a suggestion like we can find out with a very simple method. And for that, Mr. Francis Bennett is asking, what is that? And that is to turn the moon round. So Corley is suggesting that we can turn the moon round, not literally by using satellites. So that is what he means here. So in simple overall, Mr. Francis Bennett is questioning about the Mars because from the moon, because from the moon he did not get anything. So he's telling it's not because of the optical science, which means it's not because of the telescope. And also for that, Mr. Colley replies that there might be some aliens or some people might be living in the other side of the moon. Who know? We are not sure about that. To find out, only way is to turn the moon around. That's what Mr. Corley, the reporter, reports to Mr. Francis Bennett. And that very day, the scientists of the Bennett factory started working out some mechanical means of turning our satellite right round. On the whole, Francis Bennett had a reason to be satisfied. One of the Earth Herald's astronomers had just determined the elements of the new planet Gandhini. It is a distance of 12, 841, 348 to 84, 623 meters and 7 decimeters that this planet describes its orbit round the Sun in 572 years, 194 days, 12 hours, 43 minutes, 9.8 seconds. Francis Bennett was delighted with such precision. So Mr. Cawley, the reporter, suggests that the only way to find out whether inhabitants are there in the moon is to turn the moon round. For that, on this very same day, what happens? The Bennett factory, right? The scientists who work in the satellite, they started working out to turn the satellite right round so that they can see what is on the other side of the moon. And after that, on the whole, finally the interaction that he had with all the astronomical reporters, he was very happy and satisfied because one of the astronomical reporter just found out a new planet named Gandhini. Okay, so it lies in the distance of 12, 841, 348 to 84, 623 meters and 7 decimeters, and it orbits the sun 572 years, 194 days, 12 hours, 43 minutes, 9.8 seconds. And Francis was really so happy and delighted because this information has come out with such a precision. Precision means with clear information, crystal clear information. So Mr. Francis Bennett is so happy because is one of the 10 astronomical reporter had found a new planet named Gandhini, and also he provided a precise information about its location and how far it is located from the earth. At the same time, how long does it take to orbit the sun in the solar system. So let's see what Mr. Francis Bennett does after that. The next room, a broad gallery about a quarter of a mile long, was devoted to publicity, and it well may be imagined what the publicity for such a journal as the Earth Herald had to be. It brought in a daily average of $3 million. So, what Mr. Francis Bennett does is planning to go to his next room, which is a gallery that the distance of the room is like it's so big, which is quarter of mile long. So that room is exclusively for the publicity. We can say for the advertisement. Whatever they found, they will be advertising it. So you should imagine that the publicity should be very important for a journal that makes average of $3 million on a daily basis. So they should have publicity. So that is why they have such a big broad gallery that was completely dedicated to this publicity, so that people, because this is the world's largest news channel, right? So that is why they have such a big gallery. So let's see. They are gigantic signs reflected on the clouds, so large that they can be seen all over a whole country. From that gallery, thousands of projectors were unceasingly employed in sending to the clouds, on which they were reproduced in colors this inordinate advertisement. So, what he does, as soon as he got the information, he goes to the broad gallery room. So this broad gallery is very big, which is quite a quarter mile long. So because, as I told you, it's a very largest world number one news channel. So they have to dedicate they have to convey the information to the public, so they need more publicity because they make an average of $3 million on a daily base. So what he does, he enters into that big gallery room, and in that gallery room there are thousands of projectors are there that will be sending the signals on the clouds. It will be too big that the whole country can able to see the advertisement that they are projecting from the thousand projectors. So it will be like this. If you look at this picture from the room, they are just projecting something on the clouds. In the cloud it is quite visible. It is just similar to the theater. From the theater you can see from one operator room, the signal comes and reflects on the screen, right? Likewise, they were using the clouds with the help of thousand projectors so that the entire country can able to see the information and advertisement that they post. So here this inordinate advertisement, which means what does inordinate means? Beyond normal limits. Because imagine a whole country can able to see the news or advertisement that they project on the clouds, which means it is something beyond the normal limits, right? So that is why they have given here inordinate advertisement. Yeah. At that moment the clock struck 12. The director of Earth Herald left the hall and sat down in a rolling armchair. In a few minutes he had reached his dining room, half a mile away, at the far end of the office. So the moment when they were advertising about the new discovery of the Gandhini planet on the clouds, it was around 12 o'clock. So the director of the Earth Herald, Mr. Francis Bennett, he leaves the hall and sits on a armchair. That rolling armchair carries him to his dining room, which is half a mile away from the gallery room. And then the ta- the table was laid and he took his place at it. Within a reach of his hands was placed a series of taps, and before him was the curved surface of a phono-telephone on which appeared the dining room of his home in Paris. So he reaches to his dining room. As soon as he reaches there, the table was set up on its own. And then what happens? Within a reach of his hands, there was a series of taps. So he pressed one taps. We can say a button kind of thing. So when he presses that, he can get whatever he wants. So and then he also has a curved surface of a phonotelephone. So this is a curved surface of a phonotelephone, might be here somewhere. And that we remember what are phonotelephone. Phonotelephores can able to transmit our visual at the same time our voice. It is the vice versa to the another person. So with the help of the curved surface of phonotelephone, he can able to see the dining room of his home in the Paris that he wants. Remember, in the beginning itself, we saw that he has a house at Paris, the avenue. Remember, so he sees the dining room. Mr. and Mrs. Bennet had arranged to have lunch at the same time. Nothing could be more pleasant than to be face to face in spite of the distance, to see one another and talk by means of phonotelephotic apparatus. So he reaches at 12 o'clock exactly because he had an appointment, or like Mr. Francis Bennett at the same time, his wife had arranged agreed to meet during the lunch time, especially exactly at 12 o'clock. So nothing is more pleasant than to be face to face in spite of the distance, right? So say for example, nowadays people use video call to see people, right? Even people have dinner at the same time with the help of video call. Likewise, this happens. So and also with the help of phonotelephonic apparatus means an instrument that is used for any other purpose. It can be an instrument. Okay, that is what we call apparatus. So Mr. and Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Bennett having lunch at 12 o'clock with the help of phonotelephotic apparatus, and they are so happy because they can able to see face to face, even irrespective of the distance. They are very far away from each other, but still they are able to able to see and also dine together. Okay, guys, that's all. I hope you all understood. That another part from the another part we'll see the remaining story. Take care, guys.